So I've had many people who ask, what is coaching at all? If it's not boxing, then it is soccer. On the periphery or on the spectrum, it's called life coaching. It is the third leg of human capital development. Coaching is an integrative intervention. The beauty, the magic that coaching brings to an individual is what thrills me. Welcome to the most favorite aspect of my life. I remember I was at a conference and an HR professional walked up to me and asked, so what took you into coaching? And I have a fascinating story about how coaching found me, or how I came to understand I was called into coaching, that the purpose of the life I live for is in coaching. So I told her that somewhere in 2001, I had a privilege to have been a tutor in a vocational school way back in Achimbegro. And when I went through a transformational training, the trainers found so much grace in me, and it gave me access to them whenever they meet or gather. And in during one of the after training, or I think it was a break or something, we've gone for sightseeing and everything, and I had Betty Sprue, I had Joyce, Christy, Dr. Caroline Iziz Fuqua. I had them discussing and coaching this and coaching that and this, and I got fascinated because what they were talking has nothing to do with sports. But back here, when you mention coaching, it's because our favorite sporting activity, if it's not boxing, then it is soccer. We say football. So I was able to ask the question that here, when you say coaching, you are talking about sports. I said, oh no. It is more or less the third leg of the human capital development. As far back 2000, coaching was still shaping, because if you look at the history of coaching, which I'll go into briefly, in 2001, it was still not fully fledged yet. And in 2001, I started researching about this, what coaching was. So my research took me quickly to International Coaching Federation, and I got stuck. So I started consuming a lot of insight, knowledge, understanding about coaching, which on the periphery or on the spectrum is called life coaching. So it is when you come out of coaching school and you look at your strength, it's just like medical doctors go to the first, I think that's 7 years before they branch into a specialty. So it's the same thing. When you come out from coaching school, you are able to designate a niche for yourself. That is how come I, for one, am called Transformational Executive Coach. So the beauty, the magic that coaching brings to an individual is what thrills me. It's what gets me to want to hold the space for the transformation of everyone that I come across. So if you ask me, I would say a life is at stake. So one of my cliche, or one of my underlining phrase for coaching is an integrative intervention. You see, when coaching entered into science or laboratory, then it became innovative. So it's an innovative integration of an intervention. That is what coaching is to me. So from there, I never looked back. Even when I wanted to build other careers, I still looked at areas like leadership and management that will augment my prowess, my giftings, my potentials in the line of coaching. So I've had many people who ask, what is coaching at all? So Coach Scofray, what do you do? I remember the first time I think on TV, one host asked me, So what is transformational coach? So is it football? So what exactly, what sports activity? Then I said, no, it is the third leg, as I call it, of human capital development. So we know we have training, we know we have consulting, then coaching becomes the third leg, as I call it. Others call it differently. But what is coaching? I am affiliated to the International Coaching Federation. In the 70s, Leonard Thomas, after gleaning and studying that there is something underlining, a bit of psychology, a bit of training, a bit of consulting, a bit of poking and more or less provoking people through questioning, and there's a certain result it brings. If you look at sports, the finest of sporting coaches were not athletes themselves. Well, you can see me in blue, so it should suggest to you where perhaps I belong to when it comes to the EPL, even though I have resigned. You see, since they gave our team to this cowboy, but hey, so it is the same experience from sports. So he was able to knit all these facets and areas of human capital development for which coaching was created out of it. So it started as life coaching, which is just the broad base of it. Then it started taking shape. So if you go to Europe, you will find AMCC, you will find Coaching Association. Then the body I belong to, which by the grace of God I serve currently as the chapter president in Ghana, is the International Coaching Federation. It's not by accident that when I was grooming myself into coaching, they were the body that I could find, that I could tease out what they stand for, the standard, the ethics, the competencies, the values. Oh yeah. Coaching is not a joke like that. There are standards, there are ethics, there are values, there are competencies that your practice must continuously sustain and uphold. So coaching has gone through its own phases. And the part that excites me is when we are able to trace coaching back to the ancient era. You know, if you look at the life of every great king, every military leader, every leader that existed, they had people in their corner. So I will speak that of my African roots. There's something we say, in the king's palace, there is always a situation they say, we are going to ask the old lady. We are going to consult and confer with the old lady. That is the ancient. That is how old coaching is. You know, medicine did not just arrive. Medicine started from the ancient spectrum before it was modeled into a full-fledged career. It's the same thing coaching is. So if you come to Africa, that is how come I was saying that there's always that, like the sage, the wise person they go to. And mostly when you go to them, they don't tell you because apart from having the ancestral insight, being able to download and upload unseen things, they poke you with questions. So for me, coaching is not so much an exotic, foreign, corporate, professional career, because it is so much ingrained into how my people lived, my ancestors lived through their tradition and cultures and heritage. The only beauty is that it has now been modeled into a career, a profession. So coaching is a partnership in a thought-provoking and creative way, which is to inspire, evoke, empower individuals on their professional and personal growth and development. I have cascaded what International Coaching Federation defines coaching to be. I have cascaded it. Why do we say it's a partnership? Unlike our allied supporting careers, psychology, therapy, counseling, consulting. We partner with you because you are the CEO of your life. More or less, You know which side of the shoe you are wearing pinches you. So until we form and forge that partnership, it will be my life story I want to tell you to model, which becomes mentoring. But there is more, which I will delve deeper. And the reason why we also say it is thought-provoking is questioning is the function of our cranial brain or our cephalic brain, which you know by now that as an MBIT master coach and trainer, I won't do my presentation without troubleshooting and bringing in the dimensions of neuroscience, which is M-braining. So when we dig deep into it, the brain begins to coordinate questions to what you've made me here as a client. So it becomes thought. We ask you questions ordinarily, nobody will ask you. We ask you questions that perhaps even your intuition asked you, but it did not register here. Because sometimes they conflict. Our gut and our head brain, they conflict in decision making. Our heart and the gut and the head brains, they can also fight. So we call it a neural integration constraints. They constrain each other or they block each other from functioning. That is how come one time I was talk about thinking decision or taking decision versus decision making. I one day talk about it on a full-blown episode. Then inspire. The questions, deep questions that we ask you must inspire, evoke, drill down responses ordinarily you had not thought of. We support you to be in tune and attuned with your feelings, your emotion, your moods in a conscious way, because we bring that which is of your subconscious to your conscious so you can embody the outcome. That is how come for me, those who limit coaching to goal setting and performance, which are all good, but it is just microcosm of what coaching is. Because the performance has got a root. The goals you are setting have also got a root. It is embedded deeply in your subconscious, because we all agree. If you look at the works of Dr. Bruce Lipton, that talks about the conscious and the subconscious. So I always say the logical aspect is your conscious. Your subconscious is everything, your experience, your emotions, your feelings, your moods, your culture, your environment, all forms your subconscious. So to be able to bring that to your conscious level, then coaching becomes your tool to go to. So, why is this for personal and professional growth? In one of the episodes, you will find me to talk about work-life balance. Do you know why that is critical? Because the life in there, that is how come every coach is first of all a life coach before our niches. It's what we get to support you to navigate, meander. So it's just like if you come in Africa, we braid the hair of our women. Coaching is just the same way. We support you to braid. So you pick the hair, you know how you want to twist it. One turn, and we observe, then we'll ask you, did you notice you turn your finger this way to tie that knot of the hair? They were like, oh no, I didn't. Then the moment we bring that observation to attention, it registered in your conscious memory, then it locks. Then henceforth, it becomes second nature to you. So coaching, from its just definition, being a partnership, through a thought-provoking process to adduce creativity and inspire. You know, one of the beautiful definitions I got about inspiration is in spirit. So a thought-provoking process and a creative approach in spirit with who you are for your personal and professional growth. So this, in a nutshell, is what coaching is. But don't miss the part 2 of this to dive deep into what it brings to you. Scofray Nanaya Oyeboa. I am a master certified coach. So transformation executive coach is my nomenclature or niche. I'm also an MBIT trainer and master coach. I run corporate trainings across the human divide to support you to have the right mindset and have the inspiration for your accomplished, fulfilling lives. Thank you.